like to say here in Harambe is Oinge, which means let's go. Ciao to everybody. Today, as we venture across the Harambe Wildlife Reserve, just a couple of friendly reminders before we head out there. Please be sure to keep all arms, feet, and legs free and organized. And please be sure to remain seated at all times as well. If you all take a look up above your head, if the animals bobbing back, you can see the animals that you might get to see up here on your Thursday. You're probably not going to get to see each and every one of them, but you do usually get pretty lucky. So make sure you have your phones and cameras out and ready to go if you're wanting to take any pictures or videos. Just make sure you hold on to all of your personal items very tightly. It can get pretty bumpy out here and we cannot stop to retrieve anything. If you do happen to drop something, just let it go and let me know at the very end where you dropped it at, and we will do our best to get that item back to you. Shy and reclusive. They rely heavily on their camouflage to evade their predators. Unfortunately, this can make it pretty hard for us to find some of them. I already see an animal up on the hill to the right. That is okapi. They have those white stripes on their legs, which kind of makes them look like they might be related to the zebra. But they're not related to the zebra at all. Their closest relative is the giraffe. This is because they have very similar skull structures, and both the giraffe and the okapi have those long tongues that can reach out and pull leaves off of branches. I'm seeing some more animals up ahead. As we're coming around this bend in the road, you guys look up on that hill, there are some large birds up in that nest. Those are saddle-billed stork. They get their name from the yellow saddle-like structure that they have on their bills. They can get very large, measuring up to 5 feet tall, with a wingspan that can reach up to 9 feet wide. If you look all the way to the back left, all the way back by that rock wall, there is a black rhino back there. Black rhinos are critically endangered. There's only about 10,000 of them left in the world. There's actually another one laying down up here, up against the rocks as well. They are endangered largely due to poaching for their horns. Some people believe that their horns contain medicinal properties, but they are just made out of keratin, which is the same stuff that our hair and fingernails are made out of. Up on the hill to the right, there are 2 different types of antelope that you guys can see. The light tan-colored ones are greater kudu, and the reddish-colored ones are the bongos. Now, the reddish-colored ones, the bongos, both male and females have horns on their head. Bongos' horns kind of spiral backwards, which will make it really easy for them to move quickly through the underbrush. While the greater kudu, only the male greater kudu have horns on their heads. Their horns do get very large though, measuring between 4 and 6 feet in length when they are full grown. We're going to be heading out of the forest now and over to the Sapi River. Once we get to the river, keep an eye out for some animals up on the banks, but also down in the water below. This can be a really good spot to potentially see some Nile hippopotamus. They do spend most of their time in the water though. While they're in the water, they tend to look like big rocks. So we're going to want to keep an eye out for some rock-like shapes. If you see one, it just might be a hippo. These large white birds over to our right on the island, those are pink-backed pelican. They get their name from the pink spot that will emerge on their backs during their mating season. They are colonial nesters, which means they like to nest in groups that can range from 20 of them all the way up to 500 of them. There is a hippo over in the water on the right as well. Hippos are one of the largest land animals in the world. A baby hippo can weigh up to 85 pounds at birth, with the adult males reaching up to 5,500 pounds. There's a couple more of them over to the left. There's actually a whole group of them. A group of hippos is called a bloat. Now, once again, it's not surprising that they're in the water right now. They spend most of their time in the water. They will even sleep in the water, coming up every couple of minutes to take a breath. When they do come out of the water, it's usually in the early morning or the late evening when it's quite a bit cooler outside. It gets very hot in Africa, and staying in the water during the hottest times of the day ensures that they don't overheat. I see some more of them back by these waterfalls over to our left.
I watched the video. You did?
Kind of in that back corner. You guys should be able to see them when we're coming around this corner of the road. Actually, quite a few of them back there. I see at least 3 of them, maybe even 4. If you guys keep looking over to the left, there are some Nile crocodiles over there. Now their main diet consists of fish, but they can eat other things as well. They can actually eat up to half of their weight in food, which is pretty impressive because they get quite large, measuring up to 17 feet long. Now, wild crocodiles do eat a lot. They typically won't eat very often. They're only going to eat one large meal. They've also been known to go months without eating when food is scarce. Crocodiles have their signature toothy grins, so you can see a lot of their teeth when their mouths are closed. Kind of looks like their mouths are zippered shut. It's actually a good way to tell the difference between alligators and crocodiles. With alligators, you can only see a couple of their teeth poking out of their mouths once their mouths have closed. And these plains are thinning out quite a bit up here, which is a good sign that we're about to head out onto the savannah. The savannah is home to many of Africa's most famous animals, including giraffes, zebra, and even elephants. Those are the kind of animals that we are going to want to start to keep an eye out for as we head out onto the savannah. I'm already seeing some out there. Head over there in just a few moments. Over to our right, this big tree is called a baobab tree. It's also known as the tree of life. Baobab trees can store a lot of water on the inside of them, which makes them a really good resource during the dry season when water is scarce. So animals can poke holes into the tree, which will allow them to get a nice drink of water. I'm actually seeing quite a few animals out here on the savannah. And the first one I'm going to point out is over to our right, that big animal with the big horns on its head. That is an Ankole cow. They're also known as Watusi cow after the tribe that domesticated them. Their horns look pretty heavy due to their size, but they only weigh about 10 pounds each. This is because they are mostly hollow with a honeycomb-like structure on the inside that acts as a cooling system for them. Those grayish-colored animals over to our right are wildebeest. Wildebeest like to travel in pretty big groups, and a group of them is called a confusion. When wildebeest sleep, they like to sleep in rows that are a little bit spaced apart from each other. This allows them all to get up and move very quickly together if one of them senses danger.
have dogs. Not seeing any.
There's somewhat of Ankole cattle coming up on the left-hand side. If you guys look over by this big den, you guys can only see them for a short amount of time, but there are some African painted dogs laying down behind the den. I'm going to do a slow roll so hopefully everybody can see them. They get their name from their painted coats. No coat is quite exactly the same. They're going to use those coat patterns to help identify each other.
I saw them.
Now they do have dog in the name, but they're quite a bit different than the dogs that you might have at home. One really big difference is African painted dogs do not bark at all. They make these really cool high-pitched chirping sounds when they communicate with each other, so they sound a lot like birds. Those dark brown antelope that are laying down to the back left, those are sable antelope. They have horns that curve back over their backs, which will help protect them if any predators try and jump on them. Sable antelope are some pretty brave animals when it comes to fight or flight. Sable antelope will rarely back down from a fight. They've even been known to fight off lions. Over to our right, there are some Hartman's mountain zebra. There's a little group of them. A group of zebra is called a dazzle due to the dazzling effect that all of their stripes will give off when they are running together. Their stripes are going to form almost an optical illusion that's going to make it really hard for their predators to single them out from the group. Zebra's stripes are unique, so no zebra is quite exactly the same. Just like the African painted dogs, they use their coat patterns to help identify each other. Baby zebras have about 15 to 20 minutes to memorize their mother's stripe pattern, which they'll use to help follow her as they grow up. You can see those wildebeest again over to the right. Now, something I do like to point out about the savannah is that things are quite a bit more spread apart out here than they were back in the forest. You guys remembered I said the animals in the forest relied a lot on their camouflage. Well, the animals out here are mainly going to rely on their speed and agility to evade their predators. Some of the fastest land animals in the world live out here on the savannah. Far off in the distance to the right, there is a giraffe over there. That's a Maasai giraffe. Maasai giraffe's spots are pretty jagged around the edges, which is how we can tell they are Maasai giraffe. Their spots look pretty different from other types of giraffes in the world. They are the tallest land animal in the world, reaching up to 20 feet in height. Even from birth, they are very large. A baby giraffe can measure up to 6 feet tall at birth. Now, they get a lot of their height from their necks. Giraffes' necks are very long, but they are not quite long enough to touch the ground when they are standing straight up. So if you ever see a giraffe trying to drink water or get something off of the ground, you'll notice that they have to spread their two front legs apart pretty far to do so.
We're not going that way. That's the way we've got everything. Oh, that's where the elephants are. You still have a chance of seeing the dog, maybe. We should have trees.
Some years they have
You would hate the animals. You want to eat all the animals? Huh?
watch over to the left, there's an African elephant back there. And an easy way to tell it's an African elephant is by its ears. Their ears are loosely the same shape as the continent of Africa. Their ears are very large. Because of this, they do have an amazing sense of hearing. Elephants can hear up to 5 miles away, and they can hear a lot of sound frequencies that we as humans cannot hear ourselves. They do have another purpose as well. Their ears have a lot of blood vessels in them. And those blood vessels will act as a cooling system for the elephants. They can cool themselves off up to 15 degrees just by flapping their ears. We're going to be coming around this big island, and there's a large group of greater flamingo on it. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance. And the greater flamingo are the largest flamingo species in the world. They are also the least pink of all the flamingo species. When they hatch, they won't have any of that pink coloration. They're going to be these cute little gray fuzz balls. They'll get the pink coloration as they age from the brine shrimp that they eat. Brine shrimp contain beta carotene, which is the same stuff that's in sweet potatoes and carrots that gives them that bright orange color. There's a couple more of those African elephants off to our left. You guys can see they're using their trunks. Elephant trunks are prehensile, which is a fancy word that means finger-like, meaning that they can pick things up with them. They can pick up food to eat or move big branches out of their way. Not only can elephants pick things up with their trunks, but they can also store water in them. They can either drink the water, or as another way to help themselves cool off, they can spray themselves off with it. Coming around a big mud wallow, lots of animals will use mud to cool off on a hot day. Some animals will also use the mud as a form of sunscreen. Elephants are a great example of an animal that will do this. They'll scoop up some of that mud with their trunks and throw it over their backs. Coating themselves in a thick layer of mud is going to help protect their sensitive skin from the harsh rays of the sun, and they'll also double as an insect repellent as well. You guys watch up on this hill to the left. There is a cheetah laying down up on the hill. Cheetahs are the fastest land animal in the world. Oh, there's one walking around too. That's pretty cool. They can run up to 60 miles per hour in just 3 seconds. Now they are very fast, but they cannot run that fast for too long, only a couple hundred yards. Most cats' claws are retractable, but cheetahs' claws will always be out. They use their claws to grasp into the ground as they're running, which will help them achieve those fast speeds. There's another one up here as well. They also have those really cool black markings that run down their faces. Their markings keep the sun from reflecting in their eyes, which is pretty useful for them because they do most of their hunting during the daytime. Coming up on this big rock formation, this is called a kopie. Kopies are used by predators. They will climb all the way up to the top of the rocks, which will allow them to see over a really long distance and gives them a great advantage over their prey. Predators, just like the lions that are laying down up there, they're a little hard to see from here. We might be able to see the one on the end a little bit better as we come around the corner. There are at least 3 of them up there. Now, unlike cheetahs, lions do their hunting at night. Most of the hunting is going to be done by the females. The male will typically stay back and protect the rest of the pride, including the cubs. Now, the one on the left is a female and the one on the right is a male. You can tell because that male has that big mane on his neck. His mane is going to help protect his neck, and it'll also get thicker and darker as he ages. They look pretty sleepy, but that's not too uncommon. Lions spend a lot of their day resting. In fact, they'll spend up to 20 hours a day sleeping. I know you guys saw those white rhinos to the right as well. We should be able to see them again just around the corner up here.
Where's Pumbaa? They've been back here before. What? Right back in the little trail? Yeah.
Should be able to get a really good view of them.
Pumbaa.
White rhinos are quite a bit larger than the black rhinos that we saw earlier. They're also a lot more social, so it's typical to see them in groups like this. The group of rhinos is called a crash. They are still a grayish color, and they don't get their name from their coloration like it suggests. It's a mistranslation of the Afrikaans word white, which means wide, not white. They have a very square jaw structure that gives them a flat, wide mouth and makes them really good grazers. The black rhino that we saw earlier has a pointed triangular shaped lip, and they use that lip to pull leaves off of branches. We're going to be coming by the warden's post. The wardens do a really great job of taking care of all the animals out here on the reserve, including their Nigerian tour goats that you're going to be able to see over to the left. There's quite a few of them over here. They are very cute and they're kind of small, but they are full grown. The wardens really like them because they are good grazers. They are typically going to keep the grass nice and short for the wardens. They eat a lot of plants that other animals will refuse to eat. And as an added bonus, they also produce a dairy. The warden's post does mark our journey back into the village, which means that our adventure is starting to come to an end. We had a great time out here on the reserve today. We got really lucky and got to see a lot of amazing animals. Unfortunately, a lot of them are facing habitat loss. One big reason for that is deforestation. The great news is you guys can help out really easily with that just by recycling your paper products. Any ways that we can help reduce waste are great ways to help out our planet and our animal friends. Some other things we can do to help out are using reusable tote bags when we're out shopping at the grocery store, or using a reusable water bottle. Both of those things can cut down quite a bit on plastic waste. Something as simple as turning off the water while you're brushing your teeth can help out as well by helping to reduce water waste. Now, all of these things will help, but the easiest thing you guys can do is just share these facts with your friends and family. The more people we can educate, the more people we can have helping out. Sometimes when we do make these little day-to-day changes in our lives, it can feel like we're not making too big of an impact on our own. But if we're all doing just a little bit all together, we can make a really big difference. If I have any wilderness explorers on board with me today, this is the 701. If you're looking for something fun to do after the safari, go check out Carmilla Falls Exploration Trail. It is just at the exit of this attraction. You can see some of the animals we saw out here on the reserve again, and some new ones as well. They have a really cool underwater viewing of the hippos that I highly recommend checking out. It does look like it is just about time for us to say goodbye now, but here in Harambe, we do not like to say goodbye. That is too sad and too final. So instead we like to say Kwaherini, which means to go well. So Kwaherini, everyone.
Kwaherini.